Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Caldwell again. Hope everyone is staying healthy and safe. We're going to look at Unit 7, Day 6 today. And on Day 6, we have adding and subtracting rational functions, only this time they're unlike denominators. So as a warm-up, we're going to go over what we went through Monday and Tuesday, which was adding and subtracting if we have common denominators. So go ahead, pause the video, try A and B, and when you're ready, go ahead and press play. All right, so for A, if you notice that we have the same denominator, that means that we can just add our denominator or our numerator, and our denominator is going to stay the same. So when I add that numerator, the top part, I'm going to look for like terms. I have 4x squared and 1x squared, which gives me 5x squared. Then I have negative 5x, negative 2x gives me negative 7x. Finally, I have 7 and negative 3, which gives me 4. Now, if I could factor that top, I would look to see if I could factor it and then simplify from there. Okay, but in this case, that's not something we're used to factoring, so we're just going to leave it. All right, for B, same thing. We have like denominators, so I can just add straight across, but in this case, it's subtraction. So I'm going to actually distribute that negative sign, and that actually will just change these signs. Now I have 5x and negative 2x, which gives me 3x. I have 6 and 4, which gives me 10. I would see, can I factor that? No, I can't, so nothing cancels. There's my final answer, 3x plus 10 over x plus 1. Okay. Now, our goal for today is to get our equations to look like A and B. Our expressions to look like A and B. So I want them to have like denominators. So we have a set of rules here. Okay, factor each denominator if necessary. List all factors that appear in either denominator. List only shared factors once. Multiply by all factors, which we call the LCD, the least common denominator. All right, so in A, if I look at my denominator, nothing to factor here. Nothing to factor here. So my LCD, my least common denominator, would be all the factors I have. I have x minus 3, and I have x plus 5. So I'm just going to multiply by what I need here. Okay, so I'm going to multiply if I need... This one has an x minus 3, so it needs an x plus 5. Remember, when you multiply with fractions, if you change the bottom, you have to also multiply the top. This has an x plus 5, so it needs x minus 3. Whatever I do to the bottom, I also have to do to the top. Both pieces need both factors. Okay? Then I'm going to go ahead and distribute, and I have 3x plus 15, and then over here I have 2x minus 6. My denominator is x plus 5, x minus 3. All right, then I'm going to go ahead and combine like terms. 3x, 2x gives me 5x. 15 minus 6 gives me 9. And then finally, I would see, can I factor anything? No, I can't. So that's as simple as it's going to be. Oop. Doesn't want me to make a box here. Oops. There we go. All right, if we look at B, the first thing we need to do here, looking at this denominator, is factor. So whether I make a box or I look at what multiplies to give me 5, that adds to give me 6, I get x plus 5 and x plus 1. So my LCD, they both already have an x plus 5. So I'm going to only list that once. And then I also need an x plus 1. Okay, so this first piece has both factors. This one only has x plus 5, so it also needs an x plus 1. Whatever I do to the bottom, I have to also do to the top. All right, there's nothing to distribute here, so that stays the same. Distribute the 5. And then here's my denominator. X plus 5, x plus 1. Combine like terms. I have 8x plus 3. And my denominator is x plus 5, x plus 1. Nothing to factor, nothing to cancel. Okay. So the biggest thing is we need to have like denominators in order to add or subtract. So in our first examples, they already had like denominators. Because these didn't have like denominators, we had to give them like denominators. We did that by looking at the least common denominator. We looked at what is the factor in each one, and then put them together. All right, when I subtract, it's the exact same thing, only that subtraction, I'm going to change it to a plus and move the minus to the 2. So I'm just going to distribute the subtraction. Go ahead and try this one on your own. Pause the video and go ahead and try it, just like we did the last two. Okay, so if we look at this one, here's our two denominators, our x plus 2 and x plus 1. So our LCD is x plus 2 and x plus 1. This one already has x plus 2, so it needs x plus 1. This one already has x plus 1, so it needs x plus 2. Remember, whatever you do on the bottom, you have to also do on the top. All right, and then I'm going to go ahead and distribute. That's 6. I get 6x plus 6. That negative 2 gives me negative 2x minus 4. And my denominator, the bottom, is going to be x plus 1 times x plus 2. My like terms, I have 4x plus 2. And there's my final answer. Now, if you did try to factor this one, you would see that that top does factor with a GCF. But even if I factor it, nothing cancels. So whether you factor and write it this way or you leave it and write it this way, it doesn't matter because nothing cancels. Okay. All right, for B, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at that minus and I'm going to distribute it. So I'm going to change that to negative 3x minus 8, and I'm going to change this to a plus, and I'm going to get rid of all this. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at my two denominators, and I'm going to look at if I can factor anything. Now, a big clue, if this has x minus 4, then when I factor this, there's probably an x minus 4 there. So what multiplies to give us 20 and adds to give us negative 9? Again, if making a box is easier for you, go ahead and do that. We get x minus 5 and x minus 4, which means that's my LCD. In that first one, I already have x minus 4, so the top and bottom need x minus 5. And this one has both of them, so I don't need to do anything else. All right, so when I distribute, I get 4x minus 20, and I don't need to distribute here. And then my denominator is just that x minus 5, x minus 4. All right, combine like terms. I get x minus 20 minus 8 is negative 28. And nothing cancels. All right, go ahead and try this you try here. Pause the video and play it when you're ready. All right, so I'm gonna make this a plus and make that 3 a negative. I have different denominators, so my LCD is x plus 1, x plus 4. This one has an x plus 1, so it needs an x plus 4 on top and bottom. This one has x plus 4, so it needs x plus 1 on top and bottom. I'm going to go ahead and distribute. That gives me 5x plus 20 minus 3x minus 3. My denominator is x plus 4, x plus 1. When I combine like terms on the top, I get 2x plus 17, x plus 4, and x plus 1. All right, oops, and that's it. So what I would like you guys to do is go ahead and try the assessment. Some of these have like denominators, some do not. So if they have like denominators, it's like Monday, Tuesday. If not, you need to make like denominators based on the notes we just did. And go ahead and submit all of it, the notes and the practice. All right. Again, I hope you guys are doing well. I hope to see you soon on some of our Google Hangouts. And